So as somebody who's a stay-at-home dad, I feel like there's a lot of different misconceptions about, why people want to be a stay-at-home dad, or why it's important for them that they do become a stay-at-home dad. And I think it's the that social media kind of glorifies the entire thing about it, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Pretty much, it does get tough because at the end of the day, you are parenting, and parenting is not the easiest thing to do, obviously. So I just wanted to put together a little list right now to get you thinking a little bit, like, is being a stay-at-home parent something that I could really do? Anyway, my name is TJ. This is Home with TJ. This is going to be a really quick episode because I'm very limited on time, and I am still testing out these microphones right now before I put an actual review out, pretty much. I got kicked off of TikTok also. I don't know what happened. Somebody just decided that I didn't belong there. So if you could give me a subscribe here, like, comment right here. You could also follow me on Spotify too. Whenever I post an episode on there, it would be greatly appreciated. So the first thing I want to get into, or the first thing I want to say pretty much, is that it is a heavy responsibility being a stay-at-home parent. You are designated as the main homemaker, pretty much. So you're taking care of the house. Everybody glorifies the how do I say it, the house dad, the housemaid, pretty much, kind of thing. There was this thing that was going around where the stay-at-home dads, stay-at-home parents, or just the stay-at-home husbands, right? They don't even have kids. They would dress up in like little maid outfits, and they would take videos of them, cleaning the house or doing like little things around, which everybody should be doing regardless of if they're a stay-at-home parent or not. So adding a child into the mix is very important to, I don't know, their development, pretty much. How they see you interact and conduct yourself throughout the day, how you react to them, and how you treat your significant other and everything. That's very important. And they see that, and it's not that they'll remember, but they definitely recognize it, and it becomes a part of who they are. So the environment that they grow up in it's very important. So it's a very heavy burden on you when you really think about it. So when you want to become a stay-at-home parent, that's one of the major things to think about is, can you really make a positive impact on your child like that? And is it something that you could really commit to? And like I said before, it's not as easy as it is on social media, which is my second little caveat about being a stay-at-home parent. There's hard days, there's easier days, there's a million different things that could go wrong. Like right now, for example, right? My wife and I were having issues with diaper rashes. For some reason, whenever the baby's home with me, he gets a diaper rash. And, I'm very attentive to him. I check him very frequently. I change him whenever he needs it. I never let him sit with a nasty diaper, and, I make sure he stays dry and everything. He doesn't go long at all when when I'm taking care of him. But for some reason, he gets, he would get rashes and stuff. So one of the things that we found out that my wife and I were doing differently is I was possibly wiping a little harder, and I was putting the diaper on in the I wouldn't say the wrong location, but I would put the diaper on higher because that's how I learned how to do it from all the YouTube and TikTok and everything, because my wife was sick, so we never really got to do any of the new parent classes or anything. So, I would put the diaper too high. So what happened was, whenever he would use the bathroom, he would essentially be sitting in it. There was no space in between to keep him away. So I learned that, and I learned that I was putting it on a little too snug because, again, the videos and everything that I would see online say, because you don't want any leakages or anything like that, you want to make sure that the diaper is snug and it's secure onto all around the legs, around the belly and everything too. So, it's the little things that can really put a strain on your relationship, and it make it really hard day for you, because all day you're stressing about you don't know what to do, or you don't know what's going wrong. And on top of all of that, you got to take care of the house. You have to clean. You have to cook. You have to do. You have to take the dogs to get groomed. You have to groom them yourself. You have visitors coming over, so you have to clean like on the spot, really quick. And then on top of that, your child, they could be going through a sleep regression like mine, and they don't want to be separated from you at all. So it's very hard. And it's not as easy as it looks on social media. So all these dads glorifying being a stay-at-home dad. I don't know. Maybe they're lucky, or maybe they prioritize the content or anything like that. Um, but it definitely does get hard, and it's not as easy as it is on social media. And the third thing I want to ask you pretty much is your personality capable of becoming a stay-at-home parent? And I ask this because there's different types of people. There's introverts, extroverts, and there's a whole mixture of in between. So the extroverted people, for something to think about is, you think you're gonna call up your family, call up your friends, or do all this, or once your spouse gets home, you're gonna leave and get your me time, and you're gonna go hang out and do whatever. But the reality of it is, most of the time you're not going to be able to. So you have to be confident that you're going to, you know, be able to go without the contact with outside people, outside of your immediate family in the household. And if you're an introvert, this might be the best thing for you. But at the same time, there's still that need for communication. You kind of miss that, the little interactions with the people you were actually kind of close with, or you enjoyed their time, you were tolerant of their time, and it does get a little taxing at some times. So um, being a stay-at-home parent right now, the for the most part, I only interact with my wife and my son. Occasionally, I'll message a couple of my really good friends, one of my old coworkers, or one of my old friends that I grew up with. Two of the best people I know, and I have no issue reaching out to them and talking to them or anything. But it does get taxing, because you need to maintain your communication skills. You know what I mean? So when it comes to actually communicating, um, it does get tough, because at some point you need it. You need to feel that outside source of communication that at home you don't have, because your child isn't talking yet. You can talk to them as much as you want to, but they don't form the conversations. They don't think how you do yet. So um, it's not the same. And a lot of people too, they have spouses that go to work. So by the time their spouse comes home from work, for me, I want to talk to my wife. I want to ask all kinds of questions. I want to know all about her day, but she's tired. Sometimes she's not able to keep up with the communication that I want to. So which is fine. I don't mind at all, because I'm not a huge talker anyway. I don't know how I'm doing this, but it does get you get that feeling of isolation, like you're kind of alone, like by yourself. And some people can handle it, some people can't. I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job of it, and I'm enjoying it very much. So if I can do it, I feel like a lot of other people can do it also. But that's one thing to think about. You need to know that your personality is going to be able to do this, especially because it's your child's development that's at stake at this point too. Um, you and your spouse can also take turns, which is a different topic or anything like that. But if you want to give it a try, your spouse wants to give it a try, there's no harm in that, because you guys are experimenting. You guys get to spend time with your child and everything too. So there's a bunch of positives for giving it a try. Um, but you do have to know, like, if your personality just can't do it, it's not worth the risk of your child's development, or them developing some kind of bad habits or anything like that. Another thing you need to ask yourself too, which is my fourth thing that I want to talk about, is um, are you just being selfish, or do you really want to be a stay-at-home parent? I know for me, for the longest time, I was ready to quit my job. You know, I hated every minute of it. You know, it made my life literally like a shell of what it used to be. You know, my health declined, my mental health declined. You know, it was not a good time while I was working there. So um, at first, it was a little bit of a selfish thing where I wanted to become a stay-at-home parent, but after some time, and even after getting pregnant, you know, my wife and I did a lot of talking about it, and we decided, you know, it was a good time because I felt that it was kind of, you know, in my blood to become like a homemaker, you know, a stay-at-home parent, and you know, a lot of people in my family have done it too, and we all have the same like mentality of, you know, family's important. It's the most important thing, you know, and I feel like it's it was something that was possible for us, you know, and financially, you know, we're more than okay with switching incomes pretty much, you know, because my wife was unable to work. She was in like a 2-year program, and then she went straight to work, and then she got pregnant and she couldn't work anymore. So she was only able to work maybe about 6 months, 5, 6 months about that, before she had to quit. So we were relying on one source of income anyway, and you know it wasn't the worst transition either. So um, you know it was just within it was within means that we were able to do this, and you know thankfully we are doing very well, and we're coping with, you know, the time with our son, the, you know, the lack of sleep and everything. We're doing, you know, we're doing really good. Um, we're managing our relationship. You know, it does get tough because we don't get our alone time. We don't get, you know, um, our alone time is pretty much the baby goes to sleep, and we, you know, we get to watch a show, we get to hang out, you know, we get to talk and do, you know, do some things. But because of our parenting style, we don't like to drop off our son with our family. We don't like to heavily rely on them for babysitting. So we want to be the primary, you know, caregivers to him, and we don't want anybody else to have that kind of influence or anything over him like that. So it is tougher that way, but you know, I can't complain. You know, we get to spend so much time with him, and we get to spend a lot of time together too. So you know, for us, there's no downside. There was no downside to for me to take the, no, I wouldn't say a risk, but to make the leap into becoming a stay-at-home parent for the time being. Also, I start a program next year anyway, or I should start a program next year anyway. So from now until then, I wanted to take some time off, develop some skills and everything while, you know, spending the first year and a half, 2 years, 3 years with my son. And then hopefully by the time I graduate, you know, we can switch. You know, my wife will want to, you know, have another baby. She can be the stay-at-home parent with, you know, with our 2 kids at that point, or just him. You know, and you know, there's a bunch of different things you got to talk about where you got to really decide if this is something that only you want to do or something that your partner will allow you to do. You know, and it's very important to communicate with them about the how you're feeling, what you want, what you need out of the relationship when you become a stay-at-home parent, because it gets taxing being alone with the, you know, with the baby 24/7. You know, for the stay-at-home parents of, you know, the last generation, you know, I don't typically know how they did all of it. You know, they raised multiple kids at a time. They took care of the house and did, you know, everything while the typically it was the dad, they would go to work. It was like a set, like it wasn't a 9 to 5, it was like a 7 to 6 job, you know. And you know, it's something that you really got to know if it's something you can do, or you know, something personally you can do. So you got to know if it's not selfish or it is selfish. You know, you have to know if it's if it is your selfish needs. You know, got to be you got to be willing to step up and be a really good parent at that point too. You know. And my fifth reason or question, let's say, is you need to ask yourself, like, why do you want to be a stay-at-home parent? Which kind of goes into my last question. For me, I wanted to be a stay-at-home parent because you know, I wanted to have this bonding experience. You know, I saw online that most dads, they feel like they don't bond with their child, and I very much did not want that. So, I did all kinds of research, and I did, you know, I did the late nights with my son. I did all kinds of stuff where it was just me and him. A lot letting my wife rest after giving birth and everything too. And I I wanted to have that relationship with my son where it was open both ways. He can talk to me about anything, but still understand that I'm a parent, but he can talk to me about anything. I want it to be like an open door, pretty much. And most of all, I want him to know that I'm here for him. I'm present. That I love my son and that I would do anything for him. So being a stay-at-home parent, developing this relationship that for me, I feel like dads do have to work for. I feel like it's not as easy to have this relationship, the same kind of parental relationship as it is for child and mother and child and father. So I do feel like because our first contact, well, our first like real like physical contact is after they're born. Um, we have a lot of catching up to do pretty much, even though we can still talk to them and we can play with them in one way or another. We can play music for them. There's things we could do, but it's important to have that relationship with my son pretty much, and that's why I wanted to be a stay-at-home dad. So hopefully you can answer in the same way. Hopefully it's not a selfish reason why. And that's all I have to say. I just wanted to be real quick about this, post real fast, and yeah, like I said before, I got kicked off of TikTok for some reason. So you can find me on YouTube and Spotify, Home with TJ. This is TJ. Uh, Please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow, do whatever. And I hope to see you next time. So thank you for tuning in.